Alfred Hitchcock presents Lamb to the Slaughter by Ronald Dahl.
Hello, darling.
Hi, darling.
Let me take that.
I'll get you a drink. Tired, darling?
Yes, thoroughly exhausted.
I'll get it.
Sit down.
Darling, if you don't want to eat out as we planned, I can just make you something here. I could make you some crackers with cheese. Or we have plenty of meat in the freezer. We have lamb. I could fix that. How about I do that?
No, sit down.
No, really. I don't mind making anything.
Sit down.
What? What's wrong?
Listen, I've got something to tell you.
What is it, darling? What's wrong?
This is going to be a big shock to you, I'm afraid. But I've thought about it a good deal, and I've decided that the only thing to do is to tell you immediately. So there it is. And I know it's a tough time to be telling you this, but there simply wasn't any other way. Of course I'll give you money and see that you're taken care of, but there really shouldn't be any problem. I hope not in any case. I wouldn't be very good for my job.
Fine. I'll fix you some supper.
Don't make supper for me. I'm going out.
Hello, Sam.
Hello, Mrs. Maloney.
Could you get me a can of beans and some vegetables for my dinner tonight?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Me too. Oh, no! Quick! Come quickly. Patrick's dead.
Who's speaking?
Miss Maloney, Miss Patrick Maloney.
Do you mean Patrick's dead?
I think so. He's lying on the floor dead.
We'll be there immediately.
It's the old story. Get the weapon and you've got the murderer. Mrs. Maloney, do you know anything that could have been used as a potential weapon?
No.
Okay.
Would you like anything to drink? You must be extremely tired.
Well, it's against police rules, but since you're a friend.
There you go.
Mrs. Maloney, did you forget that you have something in the oven?
Oh, yeah, I did. Would you guys like some? Patrick would be so furious with me if I didn't offer you guys food.
Well, sure, that would be fine.
Have some more, Charlie.
No, we better not finish it.
She wants us to finish it. She said we ought to eat it up.
That's a big bar the murderer must have used to hit poor Patrick. The doctor says the back of his head was broken to pieces.
That's why the weapon should be easy to find.
Exactly what I said.
Whoever did it, he can't carry a weapon like that big around with him.
Personally, I think the weapon is somewhere near the house. It's probably right under our noses. What do you think, Jack?
In The Lamb to the Slaughter by Roald Dahl, we found that the central theme is that anger causes people to react irrationally. This theme is shown throughout the whole story. It first generates when Mary's in denial over the news she had heard from her husband. In the text it says her first instinct was not to believe any of it. She thought that perhaps she'd imagined the whole thing. Perhaps if she acted as though she had not heard him, she would find out that none of it had ever happened. This example shows that the anger inside is just slightly starting to bubble up and is about to explode. She is angry with what her husband told her and doesn't want to accept it. It's the first clue that leads to her acting irrationally. The theme progresses more throughout the story. Mary finally gets to the anger exploding point. In the text it says, at that point, Mary Maloney simply walked up behind him and without any pause, she swung the big frozen leg of lamb high in the air and brought it down as hard as she could on the back of his head. She might as well have hit him with a steel bar. This evidence shows the progression of how people act irrationally when they are angry. Mary, in this case, was so angry at her husband that she killed him. If she wouldn't have been angry, she may have been more rational towards him. At the end, she is still very angry, to the point when she feeds her murder weapon to the officers, the story says, and in the other room, Mary Maloney began to laugh.
Mary Maloney is 6 months pregnant and is married to her husband, Patrick Maloney. One day when Patrick comes home from work, he tells Mary shocking news that she didn't want to hear. She didn't believe him at first. She thought it was a small joke. Patrick had to get through to Mary that what he told her wasn't a joke and that it was all very real. Mary still wanted to make dinner for them and act like everything was normal, but Patrick snapped at her and told her he wanted to leave and go out by himself. By then, Mary was overcome with anger, which led her to do something very drastic. She went into the kitchen, grabbed a frozen solid leg of lamb, and walked quietly behind Patrick. Instantly, without any hesitation, Mary struck Patrick in the head, shattering his skull. As Patrick was lying dead on the floor, Mary came up with a plan to stage her husband's murder. After going to the grocery store and calling the police, Patrick's work friends came immediately with other detectives to investigate the scene. Mary started to become smart and cunning and eventually gets the whole crime scene to be cleaned up for her by the detectives. By now, Mary has thought of a clever way to get rid of the murder weapon. The detectives say that the weapon is probably right under their noses and couldn't have gotten far and should be easy to find. Mary had them eat the murder weapon, the leg of lamb, since they were so exhausted from investigating the crime scene. In the end, Mary got away with her husband's murder and begins to give a sinister laugh, demonstrating that anger can cause people to act irrationally.